Please take your seats. We're going to start the FC meeting shortly. Election of Chairman and Deputy Chairman for the Finance Committee 2014-15. So we are here to elect the Chairman and Deputy Chairman for the Finance Committee, and we need to have a verbal nomination by a member present, and then that will also have to be seconded by another member present, and then the nomination has to be accepted by the member being nominated. Yes, any nomination? Yes, I'd like to nominate Ms. Emily Lau. Any seconder? Yes, Mr. Wu Chi-wai seconds. And Ms. Emily Lau, do you accept the nomination? Yes, I do. Any other nominations? Yes, Mr. Ip Kok Him. I'd like to nominate Mr. Tommy Cheung. Seconder, Mr. Wong Ting Kwong. Mr. Tommy Cheung, do you accept the nomination? Yes, I do. Any other nomination? If none, can I ask the candidates to tell us their political platform? All right. I suggest that 2 minutes be given to each candidate. First, Ms. Emily Lau. Chairman, I'd like to be Chairman of the Finance Committee once again because I'm not trying to criticize you, Chairman. Recently, you've stirred up a lot of trouble for the Finance Committee. To say that we are in a sorry state of affairs is an understatement. So we have to restore the credibility of the Finance Committee so that members of the public and all sectors of the community, including the administration, should respect the FC, thinking that we follow the proper rules and procedures in conducting our business. Whoever chairs the FC is competent in chairing the meeting so that the situation would not become chaotic, and then there would not be people besieging the council building. And of course, we have to have the cooperation of all members as well as the administration. And the way our business is conducted is indeed difficult, in particular when the administration is intransigent. But then whoever is in the post must be able to control the situation so that the committee will not be turned into a laughing stock. In fact, I have a deep feeling about this because many members of the public have complained with me, how come we are in such a state of affairs? How come an incompetent person can become the chairman of the Finance Committee? This is a very important committee of this legislature, and that's why whoever is elected should not just be serving the interests of this council. The chairman should be trusted and should be someone who is competent in chairing the meetings of the Finance Committee. Mr. Tommy Cheung, I'd also like to get the support of members so that I can become chairman of the Finance Committee again. Obviously, I'll stick to the rules of procedure and also the standing orders of the Finance Committee strictly, and I'll be safeguarding your right to speak so that different voices can be heard and expressed. And at the same time, the meetings will have to be efficient and will have to be conducted in an orderly manner. So it's a balancing act, and I'll be fair, unbiased, and impartial in chairing the meetings. I'd also like to respond to the remarks made by Ms. Emily Lau, Chairman. I have no intention of criticizing you. I believe that anyone, including Ms. Emily Lau, if she's the chairman, and if some 10-20 members came out to besiege the chairman, I don't see anyone will be able to conduct the business properly. So I think, by parliamentary parliamentary culture, it involves a sense of accommodation, so that everybody will have to work hard to ensure that the committee can function properly. But then I have every confidence in the Secretariat, and I do hope that government officials will hear this too. None of them is here. But then in answering questions, I hope that they will not just be leading us up the garden path. They will be more direct in answering questions, and that will also help save a lot of time. And with those remarks, I hope that members will support me. Okay, so our colleagues will be distributing ballot papers to members with a seal, with a take on it. Thank you.
我提一提就係請委員喺選票
Just by way of a reminder, well, on the box next to the candidates and a serial number given to individual candidate. Okay, so number 1, Miss Emily Lau. Number 2, Mr. Tommy Cheung. So you will have to affix your chop on the box next to the serial number assigned to the candidate. And this is a secret ballot. You're not supposed to show your ballot paper to anyone else. So you have to cover your ballot paper, but there is no need for you to fold it up.
有冇未獲得選票嘅？
Has everyone got the ballot paper? One member hasn't got the ballot paper, so Secretariat staff, please give her the ballot paper. So can the Secretary count the number of ballot papers distributed? Some members have raised their hands, indicating that they have not yet received a ballot paper. Secretary, 56 ballot papers have been distributed. If you're done with the ballot paper, so we'll stop with the distribution of the ballot papers, and then I'll ask the staff to collect the ballot papers from members. Members, please put the ballot paper in the ballot box personally. And before you do that, please do not leave your seat. Mr. Wu Chi-wai, you have nominated Ms. Emily Lau and Mr. Ip Kin-yun, and also Mr. Ip Kwok-him, you have nominated Mr. Tommy Cheung. So after all the ballot papers have been collected, please come out to monitor the counting of votes.
而家請秘書
Secretary, please count the votes. One more ballot paper was distributed, so altogether 57, and we have also collected 57 ballot papers back. Okay, so we'll announce the result verbally, and then we'll count the votes. Both members are surnamed Ip.
主席係咪要數一數先啊？
數數先穩陣啲，係咪957？好。
咁我哋而家開始
你哋唱埋票。
好啊。
Number 2. Number 2. Number 2. Number 2. Number 2. Number 2. Number 1.
1號。
Number 1. Number 2. Number 2. Number 2. Number 1. Number 1. Number 2. Number 2. Number 1. Number 2. Number 2. Number 1. Number 2. Number 2. Number 2. Number 2. Number 2. Number 1. Number 2. Number 1. Number 1. Number 1. Number 1. Number 1. Number 1. Number 2. Number 1. Number 1. Number 2. Number 1. Number 1. Number 2. Number 2. Number 1. Number 1. Number 2. Number 2. Number 2. Number 2. Number 2. Number 2. Number 1. Number 1. Number 2. 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 I declare the results. Ms. Emily Lau, 21 votes. Mr. Tommy Cheung, 36 votes. Mr. Tommy Cheung is elected the chairman of the Finance Committee of the Legislative Council for the session 2014-2015. Mr. Tommy Cheung, would you please chair the election for the deputy chairmanship? And under the supervision of the Secretariat, the ballot papers would be destroyed immediately. Now we'll proceed with the election of the Deputy Chairman of the Finance Committee for 2014-2015. An oral nomination shall be made by a member for a valid nomination to be seconded by at least one other member who should not be the member being nominated and accepted by the member being nominated. Dr. Helena Wong, I nominate Ms. Emily Lau. Mr. Alan Leong seconds. Ms. Emily Lau, do you accept the nomination? Yes, I do. Mr. Wong Ting Kwong, I nominate Mr. Chan Kim Paul. Any seconder? Mr. Yu Si Wing. Mr. Chan Kim Paul, do you accept the nomination? Yes, I do. Are there any other nominations? If there's no other nomination, I'll ask the staff members to distribute to each member a ballot paper. On the ballot paper, you should use your chalk to put a tick in the box against the candidate that you choose. Number 1 is Ms. Emily Lau. Number 2 is Mr. Chan Kim Paul. As this is a secret ballot, please do not show your ballot papers to anybody. Upon completing the ballot paper, you can hide your choice, but you do not have to fold the ballot paper. Any member who has not received a ballot paper yet? Members, if you've completed your ballot papers, I now declare that no more ballot papers should be distributed. Members, please personally put your ballot papers into the ballot box. The staff will now collect your ballot papers. Before you put your ballot papers into the ballot box, please do not leave your seat. We distributed 57 ballot papers. Dr. Helena Wong and Mr. Wong Ting Kwong, seconders of the two candidates, Ms. Emily Lau and Mr. Chan Kim Paul, would you please come here to supervise the counting of votes? all ballot papers will, under the supervision of the clerk, be destroyed immediately after the meeting.
OK。
當然。
喂，咁你兩個唱啊？你唱票啊？你唱雙簧啊嘛？咁都好啦，有雙簧，有雙葉，有兩個肥章。
咁啊，江夏黃啊，我三下黃，你唔好同我改姓啊，大佬。
喺普通話就有分別啦。
係普通話三下江夏黃。
彎，我有冇講錯？橫，橫同彎係咪啊？57，無事嘅，即係我都57啫嘛，56加1啊嘛，正話。
56加1。
1啊，而家都係57。
23、24、25、26、27、28、29、30、31、32、33、34、35。我35，佢22，所以57。
57。
啱數係57票。
Yes, the figure is correct. 57 ballot papers. Number 1. Number 1. Number 2. Number 2. Number 2. Number 2. Number 2. Number 1. Number 1. Number 2. Number 2. Number 2. Number 2. Number 1. Number 1. Number 2. 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 Number 1. Number 1. Number 2. Number 2. Number 1. Number 1. Number 2. Number 1. Number 1. Number 1. Number 1. Number 1. Number 2. Number 2. Number 1. Number 2. Number 1. Number 1.
1號
Number 1. Number 1. Number 1. Number 1. Number 1. Number 2. Number 2. Number 2. I now declare the results. 57 votes. Emily Lau got 23. Chan Kin Po got 34. I declare that Mr. Chan Kin Po has been elected the Deputy Chairman of the Finance Committee for 2014-15. Congratulations to Mr. Chan Kin Po. Meeting is now adjourned, and I'll fix the schedule for this year's meeting with the Secretariat, and the schedule will be forwarded to members. Thank you. Meeting is now adjourned.